Welcome back, YouTube. I'm so glad you got a chance to stop back by. So on today's episode of Operation RV, I'll be demonstrating here on how you go ahead and remove your turbo housing so we can get this turbo to sound like it should. Stick around. All right, guys, so I'm all about, working smarter, not harder. Some will say that you don't have to remove the wheel well or the rock guard, but I recommend it just because it also adds a little bit more light too while you're working. So as you can see, I already got the turbo housing removed, and I won't list all the tools just because there are just a few sockets here and there. But what I will tell you that makes it easier for me is to go ahead and remove your air box and remove your CCV line out of the way here. Oh, let me see. Just right there. Go ahead and just take that clamp off, remove all of your housing, and already got a leaf in there. What you're going to need is an 11 millimeter to go ahead and take this band. So this band is what attaches the actual housing to the center part of the turbo. And so mine was kind of back off in there a little bit. So once I got that 11 millimeter socket on there and loosened it up, I was able to turn it a little bit and go ahead and back your nut all the way out. And yours might have been like mine, to where I couldn't shimmy the housing off of the wheel here. So I just got a shot of PB Blaster and just shot it right up here up top. I didn't do a lot, just a little bit. I let it sit for about 10 minutes and I tapped it with a hammer, and I was able to shimmy it right off. You'll also have to take your clamp off of here, off of your intercooler. And let's go ahead and go to the bench. All right, so we're bench side here, actually on the tailgate of Blue. This is the silencer ring. So this is what's inside here that is attached by 3 pins. There's 1, 2, and 3. What you want to do is drill those out. And as you see, this one here did chip off a little bit, but that's no problem because, you still have this full area, this whole entire area here for the intake to set on there. So once you got a couple marks drilled around the actual pins, because the pins are what hold the silencer ring inside the housing, I grabbed the nail and kind of shimmied it on each side, and then went back at it with the drill bit and just did slow and steady. Slow is better than fast because it is aluminum, so you don't want to drill into something you don't want to drill into. And then what you want to do at that point is flip it over and put your housing here as far as the backside on something soft. And what I did is I grabbed a hammer and a screwdriver, and I put it on this lip right here on the inside. And all I did was hit it out, and then this popped right out the back of here. So there is, I think, one video on YouTube that kind of demonstrates on how this part is taken off. And just being new to the diesel, I guess, turbo world, I wanted to kind of demonstrate on the truck side on what is the easiest parts to remove to get the job done. So like I said, you probably don't need to take off the wheel well or rock guard, but it actually helped me out a little bit just because I was able to see all the way around inside that turbo area. And then, yeah, it just fell right off. So that band that I showed you momentarily ago, let me flip this over on this side. The band is actually it's almost like a V-band. So it just sits right over the slip here and connects to the other part of the inlet of the turbo and attaches it that way. So it might need a little tap, or in my case, a little PB Blaster that you might need, but it should free it up. So essentially, we're going to put this back on, and now there won't be any air restriction in this turbo, because that's set down here. So your turbo wheel, you would see it about right here. So now we eliminated pretty much about a 1/2 inch of this silencer out. So the full amount of air from this intake is going to open everything up to also where, if you're like me, you want to hear the turbo. kind of like the second gen. So these are very restricted. So this method of removing your silencer ring, you're definitely gonna be able to hear the turbo night and day. So let's go ahead and get this installed, and we'll get a turnkey in a little bit and let you hear how it sounds. All right, so as I mentioned, working smarter, but you know, not harder, by taking this wheel well out up top. It was giving me trouble putting this intercooler boot back on the housing side from up top. So due to the silicone material and this side, you have more room, I guess, to maneuver and put more body weight to you know, put the wrap around the actual turbo. So that definitely helps on that. The band is already clamped down on the housing with the turbo. The intercooler is already on, and then when you go back up top, it's just reverse method. So now we're going to put the lower boot on with the CCV hose, and then we're going to put the we're going to drop in the element box and filter. Then we'll put in the elbow and then the lid. All right, so we got everything attached and buckled back, and wheel wells on. Let's go ahead and give this guy a turnkey, and you're gonna be the first, like I am, to hear what this sounds like. All right, guys, so we are in the cabin here and got a good old turnkey going. And let's see what we got here. We got about 2 PSI, 3, 13. What a big old difference. Big old difference. Night and day. Like it's the turbo sound is definitely there. So I'm like super excited on that. I got the windows down, so let me try it here with the windows up. All right, guys, so we're in the cab here and got the windows up. So let's go from a 0 punch here. I like it. I'm hoping this gets justice and is able to get recorded on here. So I'll see if I can do a flyby and have the camera set outside to see if you can hear it externally too.